Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Table Talk. I'm your host, Jake Combs. And tonight we were able to actually get our hands on the out-of-print Ravaged Lands Corpsewrack Mausoleum. And so we're actually going to be unboxing that for the first time tonight. As you can see, it's still sealed in plastic. Now, some of you may be wondering how we were able to get a hold of one of these. And it actually just so happens that a commission that I was working on, part of our arrangement to offset some of the costs, it was that when this was first still readily available, the gentleman I was working with on it, that he would purchase this for me, and that would go towards part of his overall cost. And so he did, and just was finally able to get it from him this past week. So now that we've taken the plastic off, go ahead and bring it out, take a nice look. So first thing we see, we have the main bases for most of the structures. Some of them look really cool. We have some headstones. Definitely a very cool look. And then, let's see, we have 4 of the same sprue, where we got the actual fence, the walls of the structures, some gargoyles. Definitely very cool looking. And then this last one, which has an awesome statue as well as a gate full of skulls. Now, part of me wants to do these skulls to make it look like stone, but because so many of the skulls are very different, they're not completely uniform like you see in the more gothic 40K designs. Makes it look like that it's meant to be actual skulls. So I'm leaning towards actually painting them to look like actual skulls. Other than this giant one, which actually is uniform, unlike the others. Very cool. Then we have our couple page assembly guide. Now I suspect that most of these are not going to differ very much, because I know in some of the cards for the core set, there were some assembly layouts that you're meant to leave off, so some parts are not meant to be glued in every case. And looking at these buildings, I suspect that it's not going to be so much any of that. It's going to be more just the placement of each of the buildings and each of the pieces. All right. So we have our card pack, which I'm assuming most, if not all of this, is going to be the map layout. We have some additional tokens, which I actually was not expecting. There we go. And then inside this pack right here, other than the tokens, which honestly, you never have enough tokens in your games, especially if you're going to be playing more than one enemy, or maybe you and your opponent both play 2 warbands. It's definitely going to make things a little bit more difficult to track everything. So the new token pack is definitely appreciated. And then we have another double-sided map. I like that it is a stiff cardboard. kind of have the desolate earth, which looks very similar to what you have in the core box. And then this other side is looks more like it's meant to be the snowy mausoleum. Definitely have a lot of personality, I would say, just in what's depicted here, because you have like broken skeletons, you have broken stone with different reliefs for the Empire, and some of the graves are actually covered in chains to prevent them from being risen. So that's really cool. Definitely looking forward to start building this. Now, actually, don't think we'll need that. I guess I was wrong. Or I just don't have long enough fingernails. So as I was saying, normally for ones that are your map layouts, I typically like to, leave those cards sealed. That way it's not going to affect the gameplay. And just flipping through these real quick, like this one right here, this is a combination of the mausoleum set as well as some of the core terrain, and each of these sets basically are meant to add to the core, but as far as my understanding, there are not any pieces that these cards represent from other sets, so that way if you're not able to get a hold of one, all the cards you have are still playable, which is very cool. I love the detail that they have on these cards as well. Makes it very clear, which structures they're referring to. And each of the maps kind of differ sides depending on if you're using a mixture of the terrain, you're using more of the ash and waste. If you're using just the mausoleum, you have the snowy board. Those definitely go together well, and makes it pretty apparent if you're going to be needing other terrain pieces or not. But just flipping through these, I'm not seeing anything that stands out to me as needing the specific piece left off in some way, so that's cool. Alright, just take another look at this. This curved section kind of makes it look like it's going to be a well, but I don't see any other curved pieces. So it makes me think that maybe it's going to be more of like a connector for some wall pieces, maybe to go around part of the statue. And then seeing as the map has, chains holding down some of these sarcophaguses, I honestly don't know which is the proper pronunciation of it, but I do have some scale chains that I think that I will actually be draping over to do the same kind of effect for the rest of the tombs themselves. That way it matches more of that same aesthetic. And then just take another look at these. I do really like that in several pieces you actually have some flower work kind of climbing up. Almost looks like roses, so it looks very cool. Definitely a way to bring more color into it without having everything just being kind of the same single colors. So that's very cool, and I am definitely looking forward to building this terrain. Right now, I know I mentioned it last week that I'm already working on painting up all of my Blackstone Fortress, and so I'm still going to be continuing to do that. But once that's done, this is actually going to be my next item that I'm going to be working on. And then starting next week, we will start actually painting on the show the Skies of Fire box set, as well as the Grot Bombas plans for the orc side. And that way we can get those wrapped up. Last week we finished the assembly on them, so this week we're looking to get everything primed and start painting them for next week's episode. But that's it for tonight. This is the only real thing I had to show you guys. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, I did have one other thing I wanted to talk about, and that is the new Warhammer 40k app. So I know that there's been a lot of feedback from fans that, you know, it's kind of a very mixed response from everybody, because it's almost everybody is either, you know, definitively, you know, they hate it or they love it, and I'm not hearing anybody that's in between. And so personally, you know, I went ahead and signed up for it. They finally made it available for iOS, and so I downloaded it. I went ahead and did the full membership, and, you know, so those that are not aware, right now they are giving everyone a free month of that membership, and so definitely worth checking out. But looking at it, I've gone through some of the different sections in there. It's got pretty much all of the available rules that are available, codexes, you know, different armaments that you can use. It has the 40k rules to use all the Blackstone Fortress stuff. It has pretty much every active codex with all of the individual stat lines and abilities, so that way you have them accessible at your fingertips, ready to go. I have heard that some tournament organizers in the past have not allowed phones to be used to prove you know, something in the rules. So I have a feeling that since this is the official app, that might change, but I'm not certain. I'll have to look to the different tournaments for how they're going to handle that. But definitely some very cool stuff in there. Personally, for me, I think excuse me, I think $5 US a month is not an exorbitant amount, considering what all you get access to. You know, I'm not a big player, so it's not something that I will actually need long term. But since I'm more of a painter, I do continue to use their painting app pretty extensively, especially for the wish list and inventory feature. So that way I know which paints I'm still needing, and specifically can highlight the ones that I need most, and or, you know, the ones that I'm running low on. So, you know, the new app, I think it's a very cool concept. A lot of cool stuff is supposedly coming on the way, and right now I think that it's actually worth the money, especially if you're somebody that plays regularly. Now, if you are like me and spend most of your hobby time painting or building more than anything else, you know, it might not be worth it to you in the long run if you were to pay the entire time. But maybe, you know, sign up for a month where you know you're going to be doing a lot of playing, like, you know, right after you finish building your entire army, and especially if you're looking to try something new with your army, and, you know, so that way you have those stat lines. You can go and try to figure if that you know, unit that you're proxying works for your group, and if it does, great. Now you know what to go out and get next. But, you know, again, if you're like me and you spend most of your time building and painting, it's not going to be something that you're going to want consistently, at least not yet. Definitely going to keep my eye out for other features to be added, just to see what else they have on there and whether it's going to be worth continuing the subscription. But right now it's too soon to tell, and I can tell that already the team behind it are listening to the fans with their complaints so far, and have already started making some of those changes based on that feedback. So definitely have to tip my hat to Games Workshop for actually listening to the fans and hearing their complaints and actually taking a step to try to make things better for them. And plus, there's also it links you to the free copy of the rules for the new 9th edition for those that haven't been able to pick up their Indominus box yet or are still waiting for it to come in. So definitely a way to get started, get used to it. Excuse me. It's almost 3 a.m. right now, so I'm definitely getting a little tired, but that's it for tonight. Thank you guys for watching, and again, next week we will be working on the actual painting for the Skies of Fire box set and the Grot Bombers. We will probably be starting with the Grot Bombers, and I know it's officially August already, but one of those Grot Bombs themselves, we're going to be painting up in Christmas colors because of the Rudok the Red's Ace card. So definitely something to look out for, and until then, I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.